Hi, it's Kim Allen, and welcome to the reLeading podcast. This is where you come when you want to figure out how you're able to pause in your career or even for your professional development or even personal development, where you pause and you pivot in a way that's going to benefit you, maybe by listening to other people like our great guest today. And then you're able to proceed with a purpose. That is the win. I'm an executive coach. I believe in this so much to the degree where I actually wrote 2 books. And I am going to let you know what my 2 books are. My first book is called reLead. This is a book, it's actually a workbook inside too, but it's really about you. It's about leadership effectiveness, but it's about effectiveness. So for this book, the spotlight is on you. So that's fantastic. But what a lot of people seem to forget is who their audience is. And my recently published book is called Reengage. So this book is actually about you turning the house lights on so that you can see your audience and how you're able to know information about them, that you're able to engage with them intentionally. That also is the win. So it's not always about you. So that being said, I want to welcome a very special guest today. His name is Joe Starecky. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for having me.
How are you?
No complaints. I'm always good. You know this.
I do always know. I've known Joe for a while. And what I want to do is we're going to have such a great conversation today. I'm really excited about it, but I really like my audience to get to know who my guest is. So Joe, is it okay if I read your background and set the stage for the audience so that we know you professionally?
Absolutely.
You're good with that. Okay. All right. So this is all about Joe Starecky. So as I begin to tell his story, actually I'm coming out of the gate with one question, Joe, because it says on your name, Joe Starecky, CRME. What does that mean? What does that stand for?
That stands for Certified Revenue Management Executive. It is through the basically the hospitality's equivalent of knowing how to be a revenue manager. So having the CRME just instills confidence in whomever you're working with that you know your stuff.
Okay, so does everyone have this?
No, not at all. Fortunately, my current company was able to provide that class for me and allow me to take the test. So I do have the CRME certification for the rest of my career.
Wow. Well, congratulations. That's excellent. Okay, so you already said that you are in the hospitality industry. You've been in the hospitality industry for a long time. And everyone, I'm engaging with you, but I'm telling you right now, I got notes, okay? If you want to get things done and you want to be thorough, don't always depend on a brilliant memory. Make sure that you're thorough. I've got 4 pages on Joe. All right. So you have experience. You're an experienced revenue manager in the hospitality industry. You're skilled in sales, marketing strategy, social media, advertising, and public speaking. Of course you are. Okay. Another interesting thing about you is that you're a vice president of STHM Alumni Association. What is STHM?
Yeah, so I'm a proud graduate of the School of Tourism and Hospitality Management from Temple University. And I did serve on the STHM, the School of Tourism and Hospitality Management, Alumni Association Board as the vice president for 1 year. And I was one of the members of the board of directors for 3 years in total.
Okay. So you also raise money for them too?
Yes. I was part of the contingent to raise money for the scholarship fund, but also put on events and just engage the alums. One thing that we did realize is once you graduate, there's no real bridge to the real world. And that's something that we were trying to accomplish and just maximize for the alums.
Wow. I love that. You are 100% correct. There is no bridge to the real world. I remember a friend of mine who's an attorney, she said, when you graduate law school, it doesn't do anything for you because you have to bridge over, right? Just because you have a law degree. I thought it was kind of interesting. So, all right. So your education then is you have a Bachelor of Science focused on, I think I'm a little bit confused here. I have here sport, tourism, hospitality management from Temple University. He is Mr. Temple, by the way. I'm from St. Joe's, but I still like him. At the end of the day, is that all together, sport, tourism, and hospitality? Is that considered one degree?
Yes, it is considered one degree. It's more of the concentration you want to go down in the path.
Okay.
I did graduate with a concentration in sport management and quickly realized that I can be as nimble as possible and jumped over to the tourism industry seamlessly because it's very similar foundations.
Got
And I've been in the tourism industry for 13 years now, so it was a pretty good move if you ask me.
Yes, absolutely. And I remember that you did say it was 13 years, which is actually a long time. So, all right. So now that the audience knows about you professionally, so what you're bringing to the table here, can we have just like a little bit of fun before we begin?
Of course.
All right. So I've got 4 questions for you. The first 2 and the last 2 are the same, but different. Okay. So what I would like to know for you to tell the audience are 2 things. What is something we need to know about Joe Starecky, and what is something that is nice to know about Joe Starecky?
Good questions. I think something that we need to know, and I mean, my former coworkers can tell you this as well, is I care. And whether it's in my current position, former positions, about the actual job, or speaking about my former counterparts, I care about their well-being and also their development. I'm very big on the interpersonal skills and making sure that everyone gets the best experience possible, whether it's the hotels I work with currently or the individuals on my team. So that's something you need to know, is that I truly, genuinely care about everyone that I encounter because it's nice.
Yes. Okay. So what's nice to know about Joe Starecky?
Nice to know is that I really value the work-life balance.
Okay, because we're going to talk about that.
I strongly value that, and just it makes everyone happier to be able to have the flexibility to go to your child's Halloween party and be able to say, hey, I'm ducking out for a couple of hours, and knowing that your team is able to make up for that on the back end, just trusting in them.
Okay.
So work-life balance is huge with me.
Okay. All right. So finally, and what really matters, what's your first concert? What's your best concert?
I think my first concert, and again, you can thank my mother and father for this, was either James Taylor or the Moody Blues.
Whoa.
Yes.
Wowie, wowie. Okay, what was your best concert?
Best concert, no question. It was just when they were starting out. So it was Luke Bryan, and opening up for them was Florida Georgia Line. And Cole Swindell was the opening act. Before everyone hit it big, I was like, oh, wow, this is great. I'm at the Tweeter Center, back when it was called the Tweeter Center, back in the day. And I was with my cousin. I'm like, oh, this is pretty great. These guys sound really cool. Hopefully they make it big, and they did.
Yes, they did. I know who they are too. And I'm only a couple minutes older than you. So that's actually even more amazing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now we know about Joe professionally. We know some fun things about him. And I wrote down some notes, right? Who takes notes in their own podcast? I do. All right. So again, I thought it was really important for everyone to understand who you are and where you are in your career right now. So I have a question before I make my first statement about you. Do you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
Both.
Okay, well, you're lying. So anyway, so tell me more about that. Let me ask you differently. How do you show up to everyone?
It's situational. Now, if I'm speaking on a sales call or speaking to my team, I'm on. You have to turn it on as much as possible.
Right.
So it's more of a, to what degree of an extrovert are you? When I'm home, I like to just hang out and just spend time with my kids and just kind of keep it quiet and low key. But when I'm visiting a property or speaking with an owner, hey, how's it going? And try to not command the room, but bring a little bit more light to the room.
Okay. So if everyone's looking close enough at Joe, his pants are on fire. And I will tell you that I completely disagree with you. I don't know if you remember, I wrote a whole chapter about this in my book, Re-Engage. So you might want to go back to that. Because at the end of the day, I wrote here that you were born with a big personality.
I'm going to have to agree.
Of course you will, right? Because everyone knows that about you. Joe's personality enters the room before he walks in. Am I right? I'm right.
Yeah.
Okay. But you do. And I understand. I think also too, that what you mean about the introvert part, that you do like to relax. Yep. You're not always on. However, in a nanosecond, you're on.
Yep. There's always a good balance.
Well, and you're always making friends with people. So you probably, like where you live, you probably know your mailman by first name. You know the people who do your waste management. I don't know if you have a pool, but you probably know the pool people. Yeah. So like, everyone. So that really is, and when you're at a party, which I have experienced you, okay. Yeah. So you telling me you're an introvert, I don't think so, but I do understand that. I'm only kidding. All kidding aside, because it really is how we show up. Okay. So because of your personality, Joe, all right, because we're talking about, this is all towards why you are a relatable leader. And everyone who is watching this, please know this. All right. Leadership does not mean that you've got 3 teams reporting to you or 10 people. Leadership is you have direct reports, or you're an influencer, or you're an individual contributor. They're all leadership areas. So I just want everyone to know that being a relatable leader could absolutely be you, even if your title doesn't have leader in it. But for you, Joe, because of who you are and how you are, I'm going to tie in what you said earlier about I care, which really, I think that encompasses you too. What impact has that had on you in your career? And then the second part of this, what impact has it had on others in your career?
I think the biggest thing for my career, and I learned this a couple years within the industry, I was like, oh, wow, okay, I see it. And again, I'm going to backtrack here. The reason that I feel that I'm relatable was I remember a situation where my first job out of college, there was a manager who was about 10 levels above me, and I'm with my father, and I said, oh, this is Bobby. I work for him. And Bobby introduces himself to my father as, hi, I'm Bobby. I work with Joe. I go, I want to work for that guy. I want everyone going forward to know that I'm with you in the trenches. I'm able to help you out. I roll up my sleeves, and I will definitely call you out if there's something of an issue. But at the end of the day, I have your best interest at heart. So that's my big thing on the relatability piece,
Right.
And kind of what I've tried to do in my career. And I know we spoke about this 20 minutes ago, but there was a situation yesterday that someone was having difficulty, and he's not even on my team anymore. I worked with him 2 years ago with my current company, and it was, hey, this isn't working out for me. Can I try my pitch on you? I go, oh, please, absolutely. Well, it turns out that the pitch wasn't wrong, just he wasn't relating with the audience. So once we figured that out, smooth sailing. It was a good rest of the day.
Yeah. And you know what? Again, I just, because you're right, we did talk about this as we were waiting to go live. And my takeaway from that, Joe, was, again, it's how you treat other people, that you're not trying to embarrass them or humiliate them. You're really there to encourage them and motivate them and even inspire them. And it really is about how we show up. And it really is all about how we treat other people. I get called in as an executive coach because that does not exist in their high paid leaders, right? So again, I do think that that's just one of your natural gifts. I do. So having your, just because of how you are, is it easier for you as you go along your career, or does it make it more challenging?
Trick question in my mind.
It wasn't meant to be.
I know. I'm joking with you. I think in a lot of situations it's more difficult because you need to not just upkeep the reputation, but to better yourself every day. But it's a lot easier because I truly feel genuinely relatable. I care. Like I said, so I'm just being my most authentic self and real. Fortunately for me, people take to that. So I don't want to be phony. If I've had encountered many people who are phony, for lack of better words, in my career.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
You can see through it. You can see through it 100%. I really wouldn't want to work with that person. Like, I make mistakes. I fully own up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if there's an error, oh man, that was me, guys. I'm sorry. This is how we're going to fix it.
Right.
So,
yeah.
We're human.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Oh, you're so good. All right. So it's very interesting because the next bucket we're going to get into is what Joe Starecky said to me. And I'm starting that off. First of all, I do want to back up a little bit because I don't have it in front of me, but I know that everyone who has seen the ad for today's podcast saw Joe. I don't have anything. Oh, I have a yellow Sharpie. I'm going to give you the award for the best profile picture. I've never seen a profile picture like that because, everyone's like, posturing, and your profile picture is exactly Joe Starecky, and which makes you relatable, but you're laughing. You're laughing in that picture. I'm like, wow, that, again, I just think that whether you're planning it this way or not, that you are your own message without even meeting someone. So if anyone's looking here, when you're finished, go back to Joe's profile picture and check that out. And I'm giving everyone permission as an executive coach and a leadership advisor to emulate that. If that's who you are and that's how you want to be, don't be so serious, right? Like the Joker. Yep. Why so serious? Okay. That's not you. All right.
Now, Kim, real quick about the picture.
Yeah.
I remember this day. We were in the conference room at my previous position with my previous company, and we had 4 of our coworkers in there just cracking jokes the whole day. We just filter in and out, and whoever's taking their picture, it was genuinely fun. We were just laughing our butts off all day, and that's what they captured. They captured the genuine emotion that we were feeling because we have fun at work. Like our people are the most important thing we own. Is one of the founding values that I have always held dear. As if you're not having fun, then I want someone who's willing to enjoy me and me enjoy them for 40 hours a week. I can teach you what I know, but I can't teach you how to have fun or be a good person or care.
Right. Wow. Okay. That's fantastic. I hope everyone's listening to that, right? Because otherwise you'd be paying a lot of money for someone like me to tell you that. And here's Joe saying this is who he is. Okay. All right. So this next bucket is what Joe Starecky said to me. And you actually touched on it before. You talked about the work flexibility and that you like the work-life balance. You said something to me a while ago when we spoke, and I didn't write every note down. So maybe you can revisit it because I thought it was really interesting. Earlier in your career, you were frustrated with lower paying roles that didn't get you where you wanted to go. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. I mean, it's, and again, one of the things I've always been taught my whole life was work hard. Well, it depends on your definition of working hard. Mm-hmm. Now, earlier in my career was pounding the pavement, 70 hours a week, doing my job, like working crazy hours. And again, that definitely gets you somewhere. But where I wanted to be was working smarter. Everyone always says, oh, work smarter, not harder. But what does that really look like? This is what it looks like. It looks like having the ability to work a respectable amount of hours, get your job done. I mean, heck, kudos to my wife, because some days I'll start working at 7 in the morning if I have a very busy morning ahead of me. And I'll be, all right, I'm home for dinner. I'm here to eat. I'll jump back on again. I'm still working the hours, but I'm able to humanize myself and enjoy it to where those hours don't really seem that big of a deal. I'm happy to finish it because I'm able to sit down with my kids for dinner.
And put them to bed, you even mentioned.
Always.
Right? So, and the reason why, because again, you're talking about working smarter, and you also talked about your time management, which I think is really important. Yeah. Because if we don't have time management and and if we don't have it and we're waiting for our organization to assume that we know time management, we're not going to be happy. And you're always happy. But what also for you had mentioned, because of your clients, you're dealing with the East Coast and the West Coast.
Correct.
Okay. So you're working longer hours.
True.
Right?
I am. However, I will say that my current company is like, all right, well, you're working later in the evening. Make sure you take a break. It's always about well-being and mental health and truly caring. Again, that's why I'm very, very happy with where I've landed currently. But it really is. I have meetings at 5:30 at night that sometimes lasts to 6:30. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to take a walk at 4 o'clock before it starts. So I'm energized. So I'm on it.
Right. Exactly. I think that's great. Okay. So also you talked about the fact that you believe in your product. Mm-hmm. So I wrote that down because are you talking about your company's product or are you talking about Joe Starecky as being a product?
It's a good question. It's funny because whenever I'm speaking to my hotels that I work with, and again, I've worked with hotels for a while now, I want them to buy into not just my ability to make them more revenue, maximize where we can. I want them to buy into me really caring about their well-being. I look at things from a customer's point of view because I'm a customer.
Yes,
I travel. But I also look at it from their perspective. Fortunately for me, I was able to work on property at
Mhm.
a very large hotel, full service property. And I
Mhm.
saw firsthand how crazy it is. I saw the guest perspective. I saw the hotelier's perspective. I know what the owners are thinking. So kind of putting myself in their position and showing that I genuinely care about it. It's like, okay, it's like, wow, we had a really good week, but we didn't. So I was like, I get what you're saying. Like we didn't make as much money as we did last year.
Mhm.
However, looking at the rest of the market, we had a good week. So I can see both sides of things,
Mhm.
but I do relate to what your issues are, and we're going to work together to try to get you to make up for the rest of the month.
Right. Yeah, that's great because again, I see your product as Joe Starecky. So in other words, you can go anywhere and work, right? You could hit the ground running in any company because you're so relatable that people are going to buy what you're selling because of your personality, because of that energy that you bring. That's that relatability. And that's very hard to teach someone to do that. And I speak from experience as an executive coach, right? It's hard.
Mhm.
So, okay. And one final thing about what Joe Starecky said to me is what I think why other people buy into Joe Starecky. You said that you are the liaison and that you bridge the gap. So you're already thinking about that, which is fantastic that you do that.
Mhm.
I can only imagine the impact that has on your customers who could be your colleagues or
Yeah.
your customers who are true outside of the company customers, because you're already in mode that you want to be that person, that liaison that bridges those gaps. You're already thinking about that.
And I mean, I do want to add one thing is that was actually a learned behavior by me. Like just coming out of college and just like, oh yeah, like I'm going to take the world by storm. I know everything. You sometimes talk at people.
Yes.
Like, you don't resonate with them. And I pride myself on communication. Hey, like I open up every conversation. Hey, what's going on with you? And just yesterday, I had a conversation with one of my hotels. I asked, "Oh, what's going on?" He's like, things aren't good. I go, "What's up?" Turns out he's having car trouble. So I was like, "Car trouble, this and that." I go, "Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that," but that's something that he knew that I cared about.
Yeah.
And it's a "What are you doing for the holidays?" type situation because we we vibe. And I say this to my manager way too often. I was like, how's it going with your hotels? I go, "Oh, we're vibing, we're good." There's like the slang term for we're understanding or we're getting along,
Yeah.
but that ability to get along with one another makes my ideas better.
Right.
And they go, "Oh,
Absolutely.
Joe cares."
I'm writing all this stuff down, Joe. I'm telling you, this is great. You care, you vibe. I love that. But you know what? Again, I so believe in that. It's almost like you wrote my book because I talk about that because people do not engage. They communicate like an email. They'll shoot someone an email. There's no interaction. And for you, again, because you're selling Joe Starecky, because you care about other people, even by you asking someone, "How's your day going?" You're involving them. But beyond that, you're empathetic towards them, like they're having car trouble. Like you're not going to send a mechanic to fix their car,
Yeah.
but probably no one that day has said, "Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that."
Mhm.
And you might have been the only person that did that. So that's actually fantastic. All right. So the next bucket, it's a smaller bucket, but it's about clients. And I have here a couple things. Just again, it's clients, but I'm kind of I'm also saying this about you, okay? That what I hear from you, and I've heard from you, but I'm seeing it alive and well right now, is how accommodating you are to provide customer service for other people. Like again, it's just like it's a natural skill. Like it's your go-to. You're saying you vibe, but I believe that personally it's your go-to.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Okay.
I found that uh, that's how I'm viewed, and I mean, my mother's been in the hospitality industry since before I was born, so
Mhm.
I think it was an inherited behavior. Honestly,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. And actually, my last podcast that I had was with a woman who, she started out as an occupational therapist and then she became a realtor, and she's just excellent at what she does. I mean, realtors get a really bad rap and sometimes it's deserved. But I'll tell you what, I've never met a woman, and it was called Diamond Level Customer Service Excellence. In fact, I think I wrote to you about that. Like, what's higher than like white glove? Like,
yeah.
what's the word for that? And and when I hear when I hear about what you're doing, because if anyone wants to watch her podcast, it was Jeannie Egan. She's always 10 steps ahead of her clients, which again, like very few people really know how to do that. But I'm hearing that with you because again, like you're always in solution mode. You're already thinking about the client and you're ready no matter what they throw at you. So again, I put you in that bucket of the diamond level customer service excellence, which again, it's not necessarily people from outside your company. It could be your boss. It could be your colleague. It could be someone that reports to you, or it could be someone, a team that you're sharing something with at the end of the day. And also too, what seems to me that you thrive in your workplace because of the culture they built for a happy and productive staff. You're lucky that you work for that organization, Joe, because I think we spoke like the day before Halloween and you mentioned to me, oh, I have off for Halloween. I'm like, who is off for Halloween? Go ahead. You can talk to that.
Yeah. I honestly, we get off many days, but it's very family oriented. It's just, I'm not going to go into when we get off, but around this time of year, everyone is trying to use all their PTO days because we get off so much and we don't really have to use them.
Right.
And we're so engaged and so concerned with our clients, hotels, that we want to make sure that we're there to help them out. Like we will answer that email. Like, if someone called me at 7:30, hey, this is not going to be a habit, but reach out to this person.
Wow.
I mean, it's definitely a caring atmosphere. But to your point about the companies, having off for Halloween is great. We have off a random day every month because they want to say, hey, we appreciate you. Here's a floating holiday. You can't get that anywhere these days.
No.
I truly value my company for things like that.
I know you do. In fact, I want to quit my job and come work there. Okay. So my takeaway is something that you talked about. And I want you to talk about this, but you said it early. It was a founding value that you share with me that really was so interesting. What was that founding value and who said it to you? Do you remember?
I have a couple. Was it stay nimble?
Who?
Stay nimble?
Right. But who said that to you? What was their title?
Yes, one of the dean at Temple University.
There you go.
And I'm going to give him a shout out because I respect him, Dean Montag. He actually made an example of me that while you might not get the best grades, you will be successful because you're able to adapt. People are attracted to you, and it's just someone you want to be around. Just a powerful feeling. Yep. So and I take that as yes, I did transition from concentrating in sport management to hotels, but I also am nimble in my job. I mean, you can be nimble by changing a meeting time if someone asks to move it back half an hour. Mm-hmm. Like it's something as small as that, but they get the buy-in of, oh wow, Joe cares. You can be nimble in the fact that, oh, I'm on a call. I see an issue. Well, the hotel addressed the issue right away. I'm going in a different direction now because that's no longer a problem. So stay nimble is something that I do try to do, even in my daily life. Yes. My kids want French toast for breakfast. Oh, no, now we want bagels. Well, got to jump over there. Thanks, girls.
Okay. Well, shout out for Dean Montag by giving you that. It was really great advice. And I love that you talk about it, that it was a founding value for you, because obviously that's going to live on. So, all right. So as we begin to close, my final question for you is, what's next for Joe Starecky?
That's a great question. And I mean, you've known me long enough to know that I don't seek out opportunities. I see what's available. And if something, I wouldn't be working for my current company if someone didn't say, hey, we're interested in you. I go, oh, great, I'll listen. Mm-hmm. Always listen. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not looking for a position by any means right now, but you always have to listen because you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. And that's good that you do that. You always have to have that on your radar. So, okay. So I want to thank Joe Starecky for being such a great guest. You're such a delight. For allowing us to take a look inside the world of hospitality with a relatable, I wrote this down, a relatable, high-level, customer-focused practitioner. That's what you are. So there.
I like that.
How about that? Okay. But it's true. It really is true. I know that we're joking a lot about it, but it's true. And I just think that the way that you show up is really special. So anyway, for everyone else, what I want to do, as I always do at the end of my podcast, is I never tell anyone what they want to be in life. I always tell people, be whatever it is that you want to be in life, no matter what it is, just be effective. You could be a CEO and be Satan. That's not effectiveness, right? But the effectiveness part of it is exactly what Joe was talking about today. He's very effective at what he does. I think personally, because of just the kind of person that he is, but that carries over into his professional job as well. So when you're pausing and you're pivoting and you're proceeding with purpose, just keep in mind that when you're focusing inward, like my first book, reLead, okay, that's really great because it's effectiveness for you. No one gets promoted on a Friday and shows up to work Monday with a full new skill set. We always have to keep working on it because leadership effectiveness is never intuitive, never, ever, ever for anyone. And also too, by when you are starting to focus on your audience, Joe talked about that too. And when you focus on your audience and you're able to shine that light on them by turning up the house lights at the end of the day, that's a win because again, that's the blueprint on how you can actually engage with them and communicate them in the future. So that being said, thank you again, Joe. And until next time, next episode, go be effective. Take care.